Hello and welcome back to Wine and Wine. We're on to Red with me, Sam Loy, and the lovely Russell Cutting. Going all right, Russell? How's the wine doing? Treating you well?
Doing all right. I'm down to the last glass, and the color reflects what we'll be talking about.
Oh, yes,
So,
the
feeling
deep,
fine,
the
ready to
deep
wine.
crimson, the
Hmm.
red of blood, the red
Nah.
of vampires, the red
Vampire.
of my rage when I lose to these cards. I like the red cards in this set. You
Yeah.
mostly picked them out for us, which is fantastic. You
Hmm.
you really nailed it, I think. So we'll probably get you to talk mostly when we're going through the top five. The honorary
Yep.
mentions have a few cards that I'm a little bit more excited about, but they are a bit more
Yeah.
jank as well, admittedly. So
Do it up.
yeah, let's do it. So, Curse of Hospitality gives us a card advantage engine for attacking a player. I like this card a lot, but I also understand that it's going to be a matchup dependent card as well. Much better against control than it is against a bunch of other cards, a bunch of other archetypes where red low to the ground creatures may not be able to get through. But all that being said, I think just having access to this card is really important. It's not something you always get, and whether it's a main deck or a sideboard card, I can't tell right now. But I know it's going to get played in red deck wins at some point or in some number.
Yeah. Doing some experimental frenzy impressions in a sense.
Mm.
I like this. Now cemented direction in red for quote unquote card draw, where you have limited time to play your opponent's cards, but you are able to
Pay any mana.
utilize any.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a fun one because it provides card advantage in a random way, not really random because like your opponent has selected cards and presumably in constructed these cards are of good quality, but you might not flip the card you desire. So I like that it also triggers on each creature, so you can potentially have a selection. And I
Yeah,
love the art,
quite a large
and
selection.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, like,
I will be getting this for some more casual format stuff myself.
I mean, it's gonna be
I
it's
think
gonna be
it's very
really
good.
cool in cube. I
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's like naturally it's easier to trigger and control, but a little worse there. But I think that's okay. I think it depends what the red deck looks like. If it's playing Kargan and it's not Kargan Intimidator, but the cowards can't block card that we got in Kaldheim. Um, you're looking at me
I
as
thought that was Battle of Zendikar.
oh maybe it was Battle of Zendikar. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, that card's no longer legal.
It is.
Ah, is Battle of Zendikar legal?
It's
Shit. I
not
should know
Battle
this
for
shit.
whatever the most recent Zendikar set's like.
Ah, Zendikar Rising?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's legal. The card's legal. So that's legal. And then
Kargan Intimidator,
Kargan Intimidator. Cool. And then
I
also
believe.
Flame Skull, which has flying.
Yeah, that one's
So
sick, 3-1.
if you can get through against the mid-range decks, it's going to be really good. Obviously, it's not going to be super online against everything, but as we've noted, the best control decks in this format actually play more of a mid-range sort of game plan as well a lot of the time. So being able to sneer like maybe a removal spell or maybe like a card advantage spell off them is going to be really good. So I like this card. I think it's pretty limited in its application. Not every red deck's going to want it, and not every even aggro red deck's going to want it. But the low to the ground ones may well want it, and that's cool. I
Yep.
really like the art as well. The art's really sick.
Art sick, love it.
Yeah. Next up, we have Change of Fortune.
Speaking of
Change
arts that I love.
of Fortune. This card is busted if you can enable it a lot in older formats where you can make sure that you can do a bunch of stuff with it. I don't know if that's ever going to be live. I don't know if I believe in this card at all. It's just a relevant effect, and it's the potential for some absurd card draw. Whether that's ever going to be a reality, hey, that's going to be a different sort of thing. It does wheel your hand, but it also draws you additional cards for every card you've discarded that turn. So, for example, let's say I cycle a Street Wraith and then I change a Fortune. I will also draw a card for the Street Wraith. So, who knows? It might get played, might not. It's the sort of card that I would like to look at for Historic is probably the sweet spot for something like this. I don't think it'd probably get played in Standard. So we'll have a look at it. It's a unique effect, and hey, we'll see.
I really hate the potential tracking issues on this card. Besides that,
That's
Art
no worse
Sick.
than Storm, though.
No, for sure. You just
Yeah.
have to. You just have to. The people playing this in their deck just must be cognizant of what they potentially could do,
Yeah.
which is fine. But the fact that it's kind of like invisible tracking is a little bit hard. But sick
It's
art,
fine.
sick
Yeah.
concept, and again, a card I'll be picking up for some of my more casual endeavors. So
And the last one we have is Dominating Vampire, which is a threat and effect on a 3/3 body. What more can I say? I like this card a lot. I think that the reason I think these cards are often a little bit better than they appear is that they can actually, in weird bad board state scenarios, like say if you're playing against a control deck where this card is like it's a 3-mana 3/3 that just happens to be a vampire. This is going to be a bad card there. You can actually play this on turn 4 with a 1-mana vampire to give it haste. So you end up getting some value out of it. It's not exactly why you're playing the card, but even in your bad matchups, there are lines where you can find a way to play this card to have an actual enters the battlefield effect instead of just being a vanilla 3-mana 3/3. And a 3-mana 3/3, as far as downside's concerned, if that's the floor of this card, it's like, it's an acceptable floor. But yeah, I like this card a lot. I think that this card is going to be a mirror breaker when you're talking about the board state decks playing against each other. The fact it can steal decay zombies for 0, any other tokens for 0, particularly Ren and 7's tokens. This is going to make this card really good. Even if it dies with the ability on the stack, you still steal the token because you require 0 vampires in play. So, look, I like this card. I think it's going to be good, but again, it's going to be contextual, and it's not a super exciting card. But I think it's as far as these effects are concerned, it's pretty aggressively costed.
yeah, I see some similarities to the weird Eldrazi. I think it was a 2-mana
Eldrazi
3/1.
Obligator.
That's the one. But the Obligator itself, I believe, had haste.
So
However,
3-mana
it cost-
3/1.
Oh, the 3-mana 3/1, and then it cost 2 to conscript.
Might have been 1. I can't remember.
I believe it was a colorless and well, I'm not sure. Either way.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where my mind went as well.
Yeah,
Except
my mind goes there as well. However, that creature has haste itself. This does cost less to activate.
But it's
If
Eldrazi.
it had haste itself,
it
I'd
would
be
be busted,
really
though.
into it.
It would be busted.
Yeah, it'd probably be busted.
I've been trying to find reasons to play vampires at 3 instead of Reckless Stormchaser, which I quite like as a red 3 drop, and Flameskull and all the rest of it. I think that this might do enough, but I'm not sure. I haven't gone through the 75 yet. I'm sure this is in the 75 of the vampire decks. I don't know if it's in the sideboard of other mono red decks. I don't know how many vampires you need to play next to this for it to be playable. Like maybe this is playable with 16 vampires in your deck, and maybe you want to do that anyway. So who knows? Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see with this card. It's certainly a powerful effect, and the relevancy of Ren and 7 tokens is certainly enough for this card to have sideboard playability.
Yeah, breaking the Ren 7 parity / Ren 7 stabilization. Very good.
Yeah. It doesn't even need to be played with a sack outlet, which is normally a good test of quality for any threat and effect. Cool. Anyway, that's our honorary mentions. Let's get on to the real ones. So we have Ill-Tempered Loner and Howlpack Avenger on the other side. Look, this is a stuffy doll.
Yep.
Any further thoughts? You don't need to.
Okay.
I have no further thoughts. I like stuffy dolls. Stuffy doll effects are really cool to have in the format. They're really sick. The backside of this is like way better than the stuffy doll, but it itself does not have indestructible. So it's like Boris Challenger was the last time we had something like this.
Can't quite remember. It was Boris something, but that was the Minotaur.
Boris Challenger.
And
yeah, it was a red white hybrid.
Yeah, it wasn't quite Challenger,
3.
but anywho. So Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting effect. I think on rate, obviously the backside is better, and we are seeing, and we'll see further throughout these spoilers and also into green, werewolves which people tried when this standard set first came out and didn't quite get there. We probably do now have the critical mass of wolves and werewolves in order to enable Tovolar and other strategies. So werewolves, I think, will actually become a viable deck, in which case this certainly could see play in amongst that, although I think we do have maybe a couple of other cards that fit the bill even better.
Yeah,
but,
this is certainly a weird card in the fact that it's not that powerful for a 4-drop in this current format. We do have better things we may be doing, but that piece of text never should.
It does have some extremely weird scenarios, both on the front and the back, being in Stuffy Doll for sure. Yeah, mass damage dealing is no joke. Any target is no joke. So yeah, it's got some weird text which can be broken if or exploited at least.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we had a reprint of Blasphemous Act, but I'm sure we'll have to make do with something else instead. But yeah, sure. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets played at some point in its standard legality. People do love this sort of effect, and they tend to enable it at some point while it's legal. It doesn't always come at the same time as the enabler, though. So
with Tovolar, it's more likely to come in on the 4/4 side, which is pretty scary because that will push through damage. Because that basically gives...
It gets really dangerous really quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Flame Blessed Bolt. I don't think this card's an incredibly interesting card, but it's just really good.
So we've got an upgraded Magma Spray.
Yeah.
Magma Spray itself has historically seen widespread standard play, either in main or sideboard, particularly if you have a control deck with red mana in it, or if you even have a format. I mean, you look at one of the premier decks in this format of White Weenie, a lot of those creatures do have 2 or less power. The Planeswalker Rider is just gravy, making this not dead, particularly in sideboard games where you do see these aggressive decks potentially going a little bit larger with a Planeswalker, of which there are some in this set, which we may see. So
yeah, I mean,
this is
notably kills
really good.
Notably kills red and 7 after the -3, which is relevant. Like, you know, and kills Sorin after the -2. So it's going to matter, and it's a better Magma Spray. What more can we say? You know, you've played Magma. If you've played a lot of Magic, you've played Magma Spray in your deck. Like, so, I'm here for it. Absolutely here for it. Great card.
Very, very good bread and butter card, and I wish we had this 3 months ago. And we've said before, I think this set is supplying a lot of the tools we have been missing.
Yes. Yeah. I was talking to Russell off camera about a different world in which we got this set first and the next set and what's it called? Midnight Hunt?
Midnight Hunt.
Midnight Hunt.
And
I know the theme wouldn't work, but I think maybe these sets sort of came out in the wrong order. But, you know, whatever. They're here now. So here we go. Here's a more interesting werewolf for you. What do you reckon?
This one is spoopy. And we're talking particularly with the idea that there is a viable red-green werewolf deck with Tovolar, which will often mean you're playing these as their back half. This on its back half is ridiculous.
It's pretty busted.
Absolutely ridiculous. 5/5 Menace Haste that probably kills a creature. If there are Planeswalkers, which we are seeing, we are likely to be having relevant Planeswalkers, often will be wanting to negative, can kill them, and hits players.
Yeah, fail scenario is do direct damage. Yeah. So that's good. I think that this card in a weird spot. It's so comparable to Glorybringer. Glorybringer? What am I talking about? Glorybringer. Goldspan Dragon. Sorry, Goldspan Dragon.
I think it's Glorybringer as well. Like,
yeah, it is. That's sort of why I got confused between the two. It's not really Glorybringer, but it is also in the same. I was trying to make the format comparison, the Goldspan Dragon,
Sure.
where we're paying the same mana cost for a evasive haste creature, which is a 4/4, and then has an attack effect. I think this is worse on the front side, better on the back side, pretty clearly, than Goldspan Dragon. Menace is much, much, much more evasive than it gets credit for. People are like, oh, flying is, so much better than Menace. And it's like, well, it is in limited, but not in standard. In standard, there's quite often really bad blocks on Menace creatures and all the rest of it, but they are harder to play. So I'm not, I gotta say that I'm not super duper high on this card. Not as high as you are, but by God, it's good. I don't know that I'll be playing a lot of it. I don't know how good it's going to be. I can see it being really good. I'm sort of lost in the woods on this one.
This is the payoff for the werewolf deck that I am predicting to actually exist now that we have been getting a lot of tools. We got the Brute just before. There are definitely some tools in green with wolves and werewolves, and we are finally to a point where there is a critical mass where Tovolar is going to be good, and that card is scary when you are making it night in your turn. So all of these are coming down as their best self.
Tovolar's a very good card.
This is the top end of that deck. You play 2, you maybe play 3. This is going to absolutely wreck stuff because you are going to be on the aggressive. This is going to remove one of their blockers, which means they're going to have to use 2 of their blockers to try and get rid of this while it's doming them for 2, and if they have a Planeswalker for 2 and the rest of your wolves dealing damage and drawing cards. No, this is the payoff for the deck, which I believe is now probably quite viable.
Cool. Sweet. All right, well, I will be happy to see it. I'll put it that way for sure. I'm planning on building a lower curve werewolf deck, which is in blue as well as red-green. And I will definitely be playing this in at least the sideboard, and it may make the main. And hey, who can argue with this much text on a card? Let's be honest. It's just
so many text.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, reminds me of Questing Beast. Just a lot of text. How bad could it be?
Novel on a card. Speaking of cards that I'm happy to see, hey, sweet thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to clear out. You can tell us.
Look, a Braid. This is a reprint. It used to be an uncommon. Last time we saw this was a Monket. Actually, no, it was Arab Devastation from memory. It was Arab Devastation. And much like Hero's Downfall and some other cards like Opt, which we are sadly missing, Duress, I believe this is an intrinsic or essential card that should be evergreen because it's not offensive in any way, but it is an extremely good answer that is sometimes mainboardable, definitely sideboardable, but it stops things being problematic. It's not so egregiously costed that it is broken itself, but it is absolutely defensible as a card because it is 2 absolutely fine cards. It just absolutely Swiss Army knife, beautiful card to have. It's splashable. If you're in 3 color, it's easily slam dunk in either 2 or 1 color decks. It's just what we want. I want this sort of thing every time.
Well said. Very similar to Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Clean answer. It's it's just good. It's good without being bullshit,
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank God. Welcome back at Braid.
Welcome back at Braid. I do have some full art ones from the first print. So
me too. I've got 4 of them.
Nice. Okay. Well, said better than I could. So let's move on to the next card. And the last card in red, which is Chandra, Dressed to Kill. This is not the best art of this card. There is a...
Yeah, why didn't you get the good one?
Well, it's just the one available really easily. This is the main one, right? I know I've mucked it up twice in a row with the Planeswalkers, but I love the name. Dressed to Kill is just sick. And I think this card's really, really good. I like 3 mana Planeswalkers as a rule. This obviously doesn't go in every deck. That being said, it adds mana in every deck. It just doesn't, you can't cast every card when you use the card advantage thing in every deck. So
Yeah.
you can hit the top card of your deck and it's going to be, let's say, a land. It's not going to work out for you. But if you're playing a deck with Shatterskull Smashing and Spikefield Hazard, that is going to work out for you. And that's the thing we can do in this format. It's pushing away from Snow, and Red as a monocolored deck didn't get a lot of benefits from being in Snow in the first place. I really like this card as an archetype enabler, along with, a couple of cards we've already seen, to really push Red into a playable spot. If we have a mostly red Vampires archetype, I think this could get played in some main, some side sort of thing. But mostly it's hitting a good point on the curve. It's making sure that these red decks can get under stuff, even if they end up going up the curve slightly or whatever. But you can get under the Elrond's Epiphanies. You can get under the Blood and the Snow from the mono black decks. You can get card advantage even if it's not a whole card every time like Sorin is. This is sort of like 2/3 of a card, I would say, maybe a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, 4/7 of a card, something like that. But in those cases, this is going to be one of the best cards you could possibly play. So I'm here for it. I'm here for doing Chandra stuff in general. Adding mana, doing damage, drawing cards. Sounds good.
Okay, so how low do we go? We do have, I believe it's Falcon Wrath Pit Fighter, the 2/1 that can
It's a Vandal Alliance
and
that can sack itself. And
we've
sorry,
got
sack a
Hall
vampire.
Monitor. We got Hall Monitor from Strixhaven.
Yeah, we got Hall Monitor.
We've got a few good one drops, so it's not completely.
We have amazing 2-drops in red. The 1-drops are not great. The removal's really good, but we do have some scalable cards like the Vampire Bloodthirsty. Was the cycle, the Mythic Cycle from last set? I can't remember what the keyword was. Adversary, Bloodthirsty Adversary.
Ah, yes.
That's good with burn spells and adding mana.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of red cards which are malleable, which is normally where red deck wins is good. Like red deck wins is not normally put all the guys on the board, as cheaply as possible. It's normally a combination of playing the best one. If we're talking true red deck wins, the name has been stolen a little bit, but the true red deck wins decks were normally playing a group of creatures, a group of removal spells, and something to tie them together, and taking advantage of the fact that red removal spells can go anywhere. They can go to the face, they can go to creatures, they can do whatever you need.
Sure.
And this card and the cards available are all in that sort of vein. So I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to see a red deck wins deck that takes advantage of the fact that we've got the spell lands, we've got Den of the Bugbear, we've got this Chandra, we've got Bloodthirsty Adversary, we've got the new Cemetery
Keeper. Gatekeeper.
Yep. That is also going to be good in those decks. And hopefully we've got enough cards to cobble it together and get a reasonable curve going with it.
Yeah, I mean, it does, again, much like the Curse from our honorable mention, supply and kind of pretend to be Experimental Frenzy to provide soft card advantage, not quite as potent, but, a potential Howling Mine effect. The emblem is not nothing, but unlikely, but she only does just go up, which is good. Her mana ability at least has a failsafe, has a ping effect, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing this in mono red, this is a 3 damage card, right? Like, this is going to be, if you play it on curve, it's a 3 damage card.
Yeah.
Could be worse. It's not Chandra Torture Defiance. We're not talking that power level, but hey, for a more archetype-driven card, this is pretty good, I think.
I'm less high on it than you, but it's much like Sorin. It's one of those planeswalkers that look a little bit more closer to the ones that were at least played, which we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, it's a little bit more pushed. Yeah, without look, I'm not saying this is a world beater, but like I do like it.
Oh, it doesn't break the bank, but yeah, there's a lot of relevant words on this card, and for a good cost. Cool.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's it for red. That's the last card we have. So we will catch you guys back in green.
Goodbye.